Before I start this review, I wanted to say that some of the gameplay I'm going to show might be disturbing to some people. This game details the nasty and nitty gritty of war. With that being said, my name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money. Chemical warfare is a big scare. Russians have a poison gas that they've been unleashing on the innocents in massive massacres, which is shown throughout the game. You play as Alex and Chris alongside Captain Price, and Farah, a freedom fighter for her country that's been in Russian control. It is your goal to find the person responsible for the attacks without starting a war with Russia. Now, Call of Duties have had a few games with some interesting stories, mainly Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 1, 2, and that's pretty much it, at least in my case. But no other Call of Duty compares to just how intense and real this one feels. Modern Warfare takes quite a few U-turns and hurdle jumps, as I imagine any war would. This game doesn't just start one mission right after another with a brief in the load screen. No, you always go back to the HQ, and from there, a cinematic cutscene kicks off, briefing you on every need-to-know detail about the previous mission you just completed, and then the next mission. No, this isn't the first Call of Duty to do this, but in my opinion, they are the first to perfect the cinematic cutscenes. The cutscenes look absolutely astonishing. You get a feel of what's going through the characters' heads. You see clear character development. I mean, I couldn't believe I was playing Call of Duty for a while because it wasn't the same chewed up piece of gum. No. And to add to my statement with them perfecting the cinematic cutscenes, you can go to the campaign menu and rewatch every cutscene in the game as many times as your little heart desires. Now, you beat the story and you want more. Guess what? Hop over to Spec Ops mode because there's a different story that picks up from there. And this time you and 3 of your other friends can join in and play together. Now, I'll add a little bit more about the story in the gameplay section because they kind of go hand in hand. So let's get on over there. At first glance, this is just another shooter to any gamer. But at times it was more than that. So let's start off with the gunplay. Modern Warfare feels amazing. From firing weapons to the different movements with different weapons, it's just downright impressive. Guns have a good bit of recoil, but nothing insane. And if you've ever shot a gun, you know how recoil feels, and this is the closest in any game that I've felt to realistic recoil. Now, I've only shot guns at a firing range, so I wasn't trying to shoot the instructor through metal walls because, well, that's illegal. But you can practically shoot through most items in this game, so I won't say if it's realistic or not, but it definitely helped whenever you were in a pinch and couldn't go guns blazing. And to season that up, we can now lean around corners and mount your gun to whatever you're using for cover. There would be times where there were enemies on a catwalk that would be raining down bullets on me in a better sync than any line dancing I've ever seen. I would lean around the corner and take one at a time, and it didn't matter if one was behind a metal wall or not because either way I could take them down. With me talking about how the shooting feels realistic, I want to add that this game overall is way more gritty than previous titles. So much so that I think John Wayne himself would say, damn. Black Ops was brutal with violence, yeah, obviously, but you weren't walking through buildings, killing mothers who seemed innocent until they pulled the gun on you and then watching their child run over to their corpse. This game is unforgiving, but it is true. War is nasty, and Infinity Ward's goal was to show that, and they did. And they did it in a way that, yes, is disturbing, but also careful at the same time. Another key point is too, after invading these houses, you'll come to points where you just don't know who to shoot, and you're most likely going to fail a mission more than once because anyone will pick up a gun, except for kids. They will never pick up a gun, and you will never have to harm kids in this game, and that's the way it should be. But you will see a lot of dead kids, animals, and families. This game is a hard M. It is rated M for a good reason. A good plenty of reasons, I might add. As I said, you play as a few different characters, and the distinctive thing with this game is when and where you play as these characters. One character you play her life from a child, stabbing a soldier with a screwdriver and wiping tears from your eyes that you actually see on screen. It's like your TV is crying. To a teen who is being waterboarded and you have to look the opposite direction of the water so you can breathe, or some rough consequences will happen if you pass out. Furthermore, the gameplay is different per level. So, Mission 3, you're searching cars for oil filters to use as silencers. This never happens again. Mission 13, you have to pay close attention to your night vision's light detector so you won't get spotted. I mean, I could go on and on about how every mission is different, but this video would be longer than the gap between Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. Now, this game has plenty of new features to keep us occupied, from bashing open doors or silently open doors to more in-depth interactive scenes to gunplay. This gameplay is a huge plus, at least for me, but it doesn't stop there. So it's time to talk about the design, being character, graphics, level, and sound. One of the first things I noticed when I moseyed on over in this game is just how much detail they put in everything. On the house invasion missions, I felt like I was watching a movie. Now, I am on the Xbox One X, so my graphics are 4K, but my friends who don't have the X or Pro said the exact same piece of information. And the explosions from grenades to missiles had an immense amount of cloud and lighting detail put in them. I mean, geez, these look lifelike. I mean, I've never seen an explosion, but I'm pretty sure that's probably how they look. But just when you thought this game couldn't get any better, they hand you a cinematic scene on a platter just to showboat how well they can design characters and their facial animations. Oh, this game looks so damn good. But wait, there's more. Bethesda takes some notes, because Infinity Ward didn't brag about ray tracing, but they sure as hell pulled it off. Graphical wise, this is easily compared to God of War or Red Dead Redemption 2. And on top of the graphics, we have level design. I've spoken a lot on home invasion missions, but that's just because they're so tight-knit that that's the best opportunity to see the game's power. I mean, it's lifelike. Now, from patchy paint jobs on the walls to enemies hiding under beds, guiding a person to safety, using flare mortars to see enemies, every level is different. Now, in every Call of Duty, I felt the drag of the campaign come about mission 6 or 7. This wasn't a problem here. They did a good job at showcasing all different sorts of tactics they used on the battlefield and then reflecting them to make every level feel like a whole new experience. The characters in the game aren't easily forgettable either. All of them play a key role, and even those who play the smaller roles end up doing an act that expands the definition of the word wicked. For me, I felt like I had something personal to take care of when it came to the key enemy figures. I wanted to take them down, and I did not want it to be nice. And I felt for the freedom fighters. I wanted their side to be the good side. And beyond the explanation of how the characters approach us as players, they look unbelievably real. This game is a visual masterpiece. Not the game as a whole, but visually, this game is a milestone. All of this mixed neatly with the sound. My only issue with the sound was voice acting. It sometimes sounded like somebody was talking through the TV from Poltergeist. But, you know, that's fine. It didn't happen that often. So, here's a couple clips of sound.
Brother, we need to go.
You know he's gonna make you pay for this.
We will make them pay.
We'll be ready.
My men have cleared the road to the north. You can camp there, it's safe.
Thank you.
The revolution begins now, sister.
The war begins now, brother.
Even war is a high ground.
Multiplayer and Spec Ops are the only two options to play with friends in this game. Spec Ops, it's not everything I had hoped for. I mean, I liked Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops, those were great. This just feels empty. My best analogy would be giving me a sandbox with toys and then only filling half the box with sand. You're tasked to drive around the map and locate different objectives, being hack this or kill this person. Through my time playing, enemies were only ever at the designated locations, nowhere in between. So when you're driving, you know, they could put cars chasing you, but no, it's just pretty much an empty town. Once you get to that designated location, the only issue is, for example, if you have to hack terminals, it is surrounded by enemies and they just keep coming until the objective is over. And it is an ungodly amount of enemies. I mean, they even throw juggernauts in there at you. So if your team sucks, then this is going to be extremely difficult. Your weapons in Spec Ops are the same loadout for multiplayer. Unless you do Spec Ops Classic, then you just crash a helicopter, lose your weapons, and now you gotta pick up enemies and survive some rounds. Playing Spec Ops is fun, don't get me wrong, but it could have used a little bit more filling. And, well, I won't take any dollars off of it because I wouldn't want any less attention to the campaign. Alongside this, the multiplayer is an absolute riot. It has the same formula as past Call of Duties, but with the gameplay I described above. Then they go and decide to make this game cross-platform, as every game should be. This game adds a couple new modes: realistic, gunfight, and ground war. Gunfight is a 2v2 mode in which the guns are given to you at random, and you're on a tight map, and it's the first one to win 6 rounds wins. Ground War is a 20v20 domination with vehicles and tons of carnage. It feels like a huge battle, but in a different way than Battlefield. There's no destruction, but there's more person-on-person action because the maps aren't as big as Battlefield. And the last new mode, which is my absolute favorite, is Realism. This is this game's hardcore mode, but even more so now than ever. No HUD, no ammo count, nothing but gameplay is on the screen. You can't even see how many deaths you have in the game while the match is still going. But what is most interesting is you don't even know if you killed someone unless you got a headshot and you hear the music. No score comes up when you kill an enemy. Your teammate from the back could have sniped him, and there's no hit markers to say anything. It's straight up just gameplay with no general effect at all. There is nothing. Lastly, all microtransactions as of loot boxes don't exist. I mean, you do have to pay for a battle pass, and that's cosmetics only, but everything past that point, map-wise, is free. Now, the only thing you can pay for right now is the Call of Duty charity that supports veterans. Other than that, there are no paid DLCs whatsoever. This game was hefty. A lot more hefty than I planned on, and it was far more detailed than I was prepared to talk about. It makes you angry when they release a Call of Duty like this, but yet fail at so many of the other previous titles. I had a couple issues with this game, obviously, but none of them took my interest out of the game or even decreased my interest. Overall, this is a rare case of a Call of Duty being worth full price. I paid $60 and it's worth every penny. I don't understand the U-turn Call of Duty took to get to this point, and I can't even believe I'm impressed by Call of Duty, but damn it, is it good. But hey, they did it and that's all I care about. My name is Tanner, and this was a phenomenal gaming experience. If this video helped, why not subscribe? If you think this content would be found with Oscar the Grouch, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down.